are scare tactics? And why do so many adults think that this is the way to get through to teens when it comes to the prevention of drug use, such as vaping? Well, scare tactics emphasize the worst dangers of drug misuse in order to create fear and anxiety in hopes that the fear alone will prevent or stop the risky behavior. At first, it seemed that scare tactics would be a good choice. If they're too scared to try it, they'll never become addicted. But research has shown that scare tactics do not work for teens. And herein lies the problem. A scary ad or message from an adult talking about the horrors of death and despair can evoke a strong emotional reaction. And these fear-based messages, while they can increase knowledge about the subject, ultimately they don't change their behavior. This is because teens rarely see the connection between the dark messages and their own personal circumstances. So essentially, scare tactic messaging also doesn't address the teen's perception of the benefits of substance use. The pressure to fit in, the desire to relax after finals or detach negative emotions. These are all reasons why teens might want to try vaping. So often the youth dismiss the messages and feelings of fear, saying, well, I know people who do this and they're fine. Youth have a different filter than adults. They have less life experience, and since their brain is still developing into their mid-20s, it often results in them processing the information differently. And then there's the high-risk groups. Sharing the dangers with them may make them more attracted to the behavior. These would be your sensation seekers and impulsive risk takers. These teens are the ones who are the ones who, when you tell them not to do something, they're gonna seek it out. And then there are the strong warnings, which can send unintended messages. For example, there must be such a big problem that it must be so hard to resist to not use it. And there's the unintended message that everyone is doing it, so why shouldn't I? But that's counterintuitive what the data shows us. And the data shows that most teens are not using and they're making positive choices. So by now you must be asking, well, if I'm not supposed to use scare tactics, what should I be using in lieu of them? Well, in prevention, honesty is the best policy. You'll want to convey the risks while not overplaying the dangers. And a great example of this comes from the Anti-Tobacco Truth Campaign, which is to prevent youth smoking. Their research showed that the youth were very well aware of the dangers and deadly nature of cigarettes, but they were attracted because of a sense of rebellion and empowerment. So they didn't use scare tactics. They changed their social norms by redirecting their existing rebellious tendency and then redirected them towards the tobacco companies. This campaign resulted in a 6.8% decline among tobacco youth campaigns. And you can do the same thing with vapes. Let them know about the vape companies, how they use fancy colors and flavors and flashy ads. And ask them, who are they really targeting? Let them know that Juul was caught paying social media influencers with a large teen following to promote Juul on their personal social media accounts. Get them to think critically how companies are using them to manipulate in order to turn a profit with very little concern for their health and their well-being. Another way is to reframe the social norms. You want them to know that most teens are making positive choices. So flip the script. Instead of saying 22% of teens have vaped, Florida surveys demonstrate that 78% have not vaped. And make sure you deliver the science-based facts about how vaping can affect the brain, the body, and the heart, so that they have this information so they can make healthy decisions. You'll want to share information such as metals, like tin, nickel, and lead, are just some of the toxic chemicals found in vape liquids. And since their brains are still growing, they're more vulnerable to nicotine addiction. Teach them what to do, healthy coping habits. Many teens use vapes for the same reasons adults do: anxiety, depression, a means of escape. But if you have your teens identify what the healthy coping skills that work for them, they'll be more likely to use them instead of the drug. Focus on decision making and resistance skills with young people. And while you're doing all these things, just make sure that you're not giving them preachy messaging. If you want to see more examples of this, check out video 3. And for more information on vaping and scare tactics, check out this slide. Thanks.